Yeah, it is. You want to know what my favorite new movie of the 2020s is, Jacob?
Is it... God, I can't even think. Oh, Minecraft? Is it the Minecraft movie?
Yes, it's the Minecraft movie. I love Chicken Jockey so much.
There's no way you actually saw that movie.
Screaming. I haven't seen it. I've seen clips on
you
YouTube, but I'm like, this looks terrible.
Movies. So if you watched Minecraft, by that I mean like you don't go to theaters.
No, not generally.
If you went to a theater to watch Minecraft, I'd be livid. I'd be upset with you. I'd be mad.
I couldn't blame you either, because that would be disgusting. If I hadn't gone to a movie theater to watch fucking Furiosa, but I had gone to see the Minecraft movie, I think you would have every right to slap me in real life if we ever see each other again. Who knows?
Who knows? You might die
with the way the world is going, you might get deported to an El Salvadorian prison.
Oh, I thought you'd die in a tragic cheese wheel accident.
Oh, that could also happen.
Like
Who knows?
You know those things, those festivals where they like roll cheese down a cliff? I feel like you would throw your cheese roll and then you'd start rolling down the cliff as well, because you would you put so much force into your cheese roll throw that like you'd accidentally fall off the cliff as well, and you'd roll with the cheeses, and somewhere near the middle or the bottom of the hill you'd get trampled by cheese rolls.
Well, you know what's not going to get trampled by cheese rolls, Jacob? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Long. With me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell, Charles. I'm excited for another pitch, another show, but maybe slightly less excited because you are a very rude person, and you gave me
I'm so rude.
Inordinately mean and crude title. I shouldn't say crude, because it's a good title. It's just already been used before.
It's a very good title. It's just a title that maybe some famous science fiction writer had previously used to title his most famous novel.
Yes. Yep. So you gave me novel. Fahrenheit 451 as my title, which is a science fiction alternate history novel by Ray Bradbury.
Yeah. Ray Bradbury. Also, the temperature at which books catch on fire.
Supposedly. I actually looked this up because I was trying to find out, well, what else burns at that temperature? And, so he's, like, right, but he's also, like, wrong because it, like, depends on, like, the kind of paper, you know?
That makes sense.
So, I think people were just being pedantic when they were saying he was wrong online, but... Whatever. I came up with some possible alternative titles, and I'm mainly saying this because it's going to segue into my show. So Celsius 233 is what
I like that. That's fun.
It's Celsius. Fahrenheit 452, which I pitched to you at the very end of that.
At the very end of last week.
Yeah, it's just a way to avoid the very obvious copyright connection. Though I don't think the copyright
Ray Bradbury's ghost is going to show up and beat us both up.
His estate will be the one that beats us up. We know the ghost doesn't need to be involved. The big fancy lawyers that that pay out his kids or whoever gets money from him.
Does Ray Bradbury have kids? I don't know. I don't.
He certainly has an estate.
Care, generally,
sure. Someone's getting money.
He definitely has an estate. Michael B. Jordan was in that TV show. He probably gave some money to Ray Bradbury's estate.
Mm-hmm. Well, the last title that I have here is Fahrenheit 1258. And you must be like, well, Jake, 1258, like, what does that mean? Well, Charlie, it's a date. Because...
Oh!
Now, I was like, I didn't know what to do with this fucking title. It's very difficult. So I was like, okay, so it's about, like the destruction of knowledge, right? Burning books and all that. When has knowledge been destroyed in history? I think you did something about like the burning of the Library of Alexandria before.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's like a decent idea, maybe. But I've read about the Library of Alexandria before, and it probably didn't burn, is the thing.
Didn't Caesar sack it? Isn't that one of the stories
we've
about
actually
it?
talked about this during a podcast episode. he burned the docks, and there was books stored at the docks, but it's not the library.
Okay.
Nobody burned the library. The library is not destroyed by anyone. There's numerous statements about being destroyed by Christians, or like the Muslim empires when they came through. But neither of them would have done this. They probably would have just taken some books. So nobody burned the library. Most likely, the papers were made of papyrus, and you kind of have to like keep continually rewriting them. And once the funding gets cut, it kind of just dissipates. So not very exciting,
Just like in real life.
That would be my show, which would be very boring. It's just about it's like a governmental show about like the funding slowly slipping away and them not having enough money to write all the new books.
I do like that. That would be fun to do, like Parks and Rec, but in ancient times. And it's just all these like government bureaucracies, but everyone's wearing like sandals and shit.
Yeah. That could be fun. That actually, I mean, maybe that wouldn't be so bad of an idea. But I wanted something more epic, Charlie. I wanted a real burning of a real important library that mattered and really did burn in history. So I went to the year 1258 in the city of Baghdad, and we have a very epic story for you here. Now, maybe I shouldn't tell you what happens, but we're in it's 1258. That's a
good year, solid year.
So right now in history, the Mongols are doing their thing. Genghis Khan has recently died. Not all that recently.
Yeah.
His son is the person that just died. So Genghis Khan died 60 years before this.
So he died
there's
a while ago.
Big change up in the Mongol Empire. New leaders coming in. The Byzantine Empire exists still. They're on their kind of last legs, not doing well. They got like another 200 years.
Just like me,
or something like that.
I'm on my last legs. I'm not doing well right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and the Byzantines.
I don't know. Europe is medieval and stuff, but
pretty shitty.
And we are in the Middle East. We're in the Abbasid Caliphate, which is kind of just like a big kingdom essentially.
Yeah. Seems pretty cool.
Baghdad is the center of the universe, essentially. It's like the biggest city in the world. It's kind of on the downslope a little bit. It's like, what's a modern metropolitan city that's not it's like used to be amazing, but now it's just sort of okay.
Philadelphia.
No, okay, bigger than that. I don't know, like,
New York City.
Well, probably maybe New York. We'll say this is like the New York City of the world. Probably the most people in the world live in this city. There might be one or two that are more populous.
Yeah, but
at one point,
shittier.
Baghdad, top of the universe, kind of lower on the pole now, but still pretty famous city. And in the center of the city, they have the House of Wisdom, is what they call it. But the actual Arabic word just translates to library, but House of Wisdom is like the direct translation from Greek, so they called it the House of Wisdom.
That sounds cooler than library.
Yeah, very cool.
I have to say.
So that's your setting.
Yeah.
We're gonna by the way, I forgot to mention, is a movie.
Oh, it's a film.
Yes, this is a film. This isn't a TV show. I know we're the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. We usually pitch TV shows, but this is a film because I couldn't figure out how to make it a movie.
My last one was a film, also.
That's true.
Or my second to last one.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, something like that. I don't remember what your last one was at the moment.
No one does. What was it? I'll check. You know what? You keep talking. I'll check.
All right,
I'll check the YouTube
really
channel.
I
do love that.
Mine was Love in a Vacuum. Cloud Runner. That's what yours was. Cloud Runner.
That wasn't a movie. The Time Is Always Now was a movie.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, we open Act 1. A lone target sits in a field. We hear the galloping of hooves, louder and louder. And suddenly, 2 arrows thud in quick succession, hitting the target, and it flies into the air. We cut to Temu riding his horse at full speed. And he hits the next few targets over and over again. And on the last one, he hits it once at sort of an upward angle, so it shoots up into the air, sending it high. Oh. And then, in a sudden, slow motion moment, he fires an arrow right into the target as it's flying through the air. And at that moment, his horse is also completely off the ground. So we get like this beautiful shot of like every one of the hooves is off the ground. And as he lets loose the arrow, it flies and hits this target in the middle of the air. So, great archer. He smiles.
Yeah.
And holds up the target. Like he stops his horse, holds it up, really proud of himself for hitting that. But then all of a sudden, 2 arrows strike the target, knocking it down. And he spins around. And he turns to see his friend, Tolai, in full Mongol armor with a fine bow. Temo greets his friends. That friend they hug. They're like childhood good friends, know each other all their lives. And Temu asks him, where'd you get the armor? I haven't seen her in a while. Where have you been? And Tolai explains that he was just at the Mongol court back home, and there was a failed coup, and that they've just announced their new Khan, who was called for the submission of not only China, but also the East or the West to finish Genghis Khan's vision. So there was a big coup. This guy won, and now he wants to finish his grandfather's vision of taking over southern China and the Middle East.
And the world.
Yeah, I mean, they actually did want to take over the world. They got kind of close.
Yeah,
they probably would have done it
closer than anybody else.
Died at certain points.
Yeah.
Anyway,
closer than you or I have ever gotten to taking over the world.
Yeah.
No matter how many times we try.
Well, I mean, we'll see, Charlie. I got a couple of years left. Just a couple.
Yeah. You got some plans. You got some schemes. We're plotting.
So we got Temu and Tolai, 2 friends, 2 Mongol friends. And Tolai convinces Temu to join up with the Khan's brother. So the new Khan, who's the grandson of Genghis Khan, has a brother whose name is Hyulgu.
Yeah.
And Hyulgu, he is appointed to be his general. So Hyulgu is the general that's going to be in charge of Tolai and Temu. And so he's like, we got to go join up with Hyulgu, and we're going to head west, and we're going to go sack a bunch of cities, and it's going to be great. And Temu's like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to grab my bow and tell my mom I'm leaving. So he says goodbye to his mom. He grabs all of his gear, and he sets off with his friends into the wastes to meet up with the great Mongol horde.
Ooh.
Scene 2. So we were just in, the back, the steppe, very flat area. Huts as homes, like kind of cool looking huts though. So huts, not like it's not barbaric. They're neat looking.
Yeah, not shitty huts. Cool, sexy, fun huts.
Yeah. And now we are with Mubarak. You can call him Mu for short because Mubarak is a long name, which I am probably gonna not say the whole time here.
I think you should say it the whole time.
Okay, so Mu enters the great city of Baghdad, this massive city with 3 concentric circle walls, which is a very neat detail, I think. The city used to have 3 fucking walls going around it, and they're all perfect circles. Anyway, so he's amazed by the sight, and his wagon driver is like, yeah, everyone is always, they always freak out when they see it for the first time. This massive, sprawling metropolis that straddles the river Tigris and has these cool walls and just spreads off in all directions. And he's going through the city, very intimidated at first, but he gets up to the House of Wisdom, this structure that's in the center of all the walls next to the king's palace. Mm-hmm. And he's there to work as a scribe. And so he starts beginning his scholarly studies, which at first he's really enjoying. So he's like writing all day. A scribe is like you just translate works to new pieces of paper all the time.
Yeah, you ascribe things.
Mm-hmm. But it kind of becomes a bit tedious, and he's enjoying it, but and kind of learning because he has to write the stuff down, all the stuff that's in the books. But it quickly becomes a bit tedious. It's like you go into university and the thrill of being out on your own and being in this place is very fun. But there's a point where your studies kind of bog you down a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's overwhelmed, overworked, and he's working on this big library all day, and he keeps getting distracted though by this mysterious girl that kind of is peering at him through the bookshelves. He'll pull a book down, and he'll see an eye, and the girl will quickly run away, and he'll look around the corner, and she's gone. He's confused on who this is, but he'll get a couple glimpses of her, and she sees she's quite attractive, and he's really interested in finding out who this person is that keeps watching him.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't find a way to to actually, get a hold of her and ask her, like, why are you watching me? And, like, start a conversation or anything.
Because he's a dork. He's not cool, like you and me.
Yeah, you would have definitely chatted up this random person that runs away every time they talk to you.
Yeah, always, forever, of course.
Anyway, next scene, Temu, the Mongol warrior, arrives at camp with his friend, and he gets outfitted with armor. And him and Tolai are enjoying themselves, going around camp, drinking, having a good time, loving being part of the army. They're, like, excited for what's about to come. And as like, Tolai's showing him around and showing him the camp and getting him armor and everything, they can start getting picked on by some senior soldiers. So Temu and Tolai are, like, really young. They're, like, 17, 18. And these older soldiers are veterans. They've experienced a couple campaigns. They maybe even participated in the coup.
Ooh.
Got some kills in. They worked for they probably participated in some of the campaigns that the Khan's predecessor did. So these are experienced guys, and they get into a bit of a fight with them. And just before it gets really violent, the general himself, Hyulgu, comes in and breaks it up with his right-hand man, Guo Han, who's this Chinese general that has, like, joined up with the Mongols, and he's, like, friends with Hyulgu, and they're kind of like the I don't know, what's a famous partnership? They're like the Holmes and Watson. They're they're like
I was gonna say, what's the name of those guys in Hamlet?
Rosencrantz
and Guildenstern.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So they're a bit of a pair. Hyulgu is kind of like the he's the one that's actually related to the current Khan. He's got the royal lineage. He's a big fighter, very good at inspiring people. And Guo, he's kind of he's like this deep strategic thinker. He's always got a plan. It's like Batman and Superman. That's what it's more like, So we got Batman.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Batman is Guo, the strategist, and Hyulgu is Superman, very tough, strong.
Tough, cool, strong, confident.
Mm-hmm.
The other one's skulking around in the background.
Yeah.
Not chatting up birds. They're like you and me. Let's just say that.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm
another
Batman.
famous duo. I'm Batman. You get to be Superman.
Be anyway,
that's the problem.
Hyulgu and Guo.
We both want to be Batman, but in reality, we're both Robin. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, but I'm Dick Grayson and you're Damian Wayne. So.
Oh no, I have to be the worst one. Fuck.
Anyway,
all right.
So the general and his top strategist interrupt this fight between our protagonist and his friend and these other soldiers, and they pull them apart, and it seems like to Temu that he's gonna get, like, totally routed out here and maybe kicked even out of the army, but Hyulgu's solution isn't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna side with the senior soldiers. It's, well, clearly the only option here is we have to do a incredibly hard archery competition to decide who's right.
Ooh.
And the loser is out of the army.
Oh shit.
So,
but we know that our guy's fucking super good at bows and arrows and shit.
Exactly. So, we get the big competition, and there's a bunch of cheating going on. And the senior soldiers are, like, mess with their saddles so they don't fit right on the horse, and
clipping the fucking, like, little feathers at the back of the arrows so they fly it funny.
Yeah, so
shit
it's
like that.
Really messing with them, so they're having a really hard time, and it's very close. And Temu is riding on his horse, but the saddle is far too loose. This is like the big moment where the saddle like we see the saddle sabotage, and it finally breaks loose.
Yeah.
And Temu, like, slides off his horse to the point where he's, like, his head is, like, so his legs are still wrapped around the horse, but his head is, like, inches from the ground. But he's still got his bow in his hand.
Oh, sick.
And he's hanging off the horse. And there's a target that's been thrown in the air. So, it's like when you go, what was it, skeet shooting. They shoot the targets in the air. And as he's, like, falling off his horse, head inches from the ground, he knocks an arrow, shoots, and he hits it. Boom. They win the competition. Tons of cheers. Everyone's like, Temu's a brilliant archer, clear pride of Mongolia right here. This dude is one of our
And that
own.
means he was right. That means he won the argument.
He does, yeah. And so, not only do they, not get kicked out of the army, but they get promoted and brought into Hyulgu's personal bodyguard. And in this moment of happiness, they're getting drunk, having a great time. Temu is like, they're all in the big tent, the big general's tent, there's women, there's wine, they're having tons of fun. Temu, like, steps out for a pee break, and he'll walk out of the tent, and he'll see these soldiers riding horses around the field, and he's going up to, like, say hi to them, because, he's in a jovial mood, and he notices that there's a rope tied to the back of their horse, and there's sacks, and they're just dragging. There's, like, it seems like there's, like, something in the sack, and there's, like, just continually dragging these sacks back and across the field, and he looks over and he sees the armor of the guys that they got into the argument, completely discarded.
Oh.
So in the sacks is that these guys just getting completely killed.
So getting kicked out of the army means you get dragged behind horses in a big sack until you're dead.
Die.
That sucks. I'm real glad that Temu didn't lose the argument, because that seems like a really shitty way to die as a 17-year-old boy.
Yeah, so he realizes not only, so, like, there's, big rewards if you're a good fighter in this army, but there are massive downsides, and the punishments are very severe. And he's clearly not very morally okay with this kind of thing. His buddy Tolai is more, like, whatever. Like, he'll mention this to Tolai later, and he's like, Tolai doesn't care. Tolai's, he's been with the army longer. He's seen this kind of stuff before. Yeah. He's not too bothered by it. But Temu,
Tolai's
he's
that's
been
what
with
happens.
His mom. He hasn't seen this
when
kind
you
of stuff.
cheat. Yeah.
So
he only knows fresh-baked pies that his mama makes.
Yeah, Mongolia very famous for fresh-baked pies. That's their big thing.
Yeah.
That's what all their kids eat.
Yeah, exactly. We love a Mongolian pie.
Yeah. Those are my favorite kinds of pies.
It almost sounds racist, but I'm not sure how it would be.
I think nobody would have thought anything about that until you said that just now. So let's move on. Next scene, Mu back in Baghdad. He sets up a little dummy. How in movies they'll set up like a dummy like in their bed so that their parents will think they're sleeping. Well, he sets up like a dummy of him, like working on scrolls with a big cloak on.
Did you ever try that?
No.
As a kid?
Never.
I did once. It did not work.
I bet not. What did you try to do? Like, where did you try to leave?
I just wanted to see if it would work. So I like stuffed a bunch of pillowcases into my bed and was like, it looks like I'm sleeping. And then my mom walked in and I was like sitting in the corner of the room just like waiting to see if she would notice. She walked in and was like, why the fuck is this? Charlie, what are you doing? And I was like, fuck. I didn't say that because I think I was probably like 8 at the time. I said, darn. Gosh darn it. Something like that. But it didn't work.
No.
Movies lie.
They do. Well, unless you're very good with your anatomy of the dummy, which Mu is.
Yeah.
And his dummy works. And he surprises this girl as she is sneaking around. He surprises her from the corner. And he learns her name is Fatima, and she's been cooped up in the palace, and she doesn't really get to see a lot of people. And so she saw somebody her age, and she was like, she really wanted to talk to him, but she's like not allowed to. But now they're talking, so rules are broken anyway, which is his argument. He's like, well, we've already broken the rule at this point, so you're already gonna get in trouble, so might as well just be okay with it.
Might as well just share this bottle of wine.
So they spend all night together wandering through the city, and they even break into the caliph's garden, and they're like walking around. They're really enjoying each other's company, but she explains to him that she's a noble's daughter and that they can't be seen together. And he has like this kind of suave moment where he's like, well, we'll just not be seen,
There you go.
So he's pretty suave with it, and they kind of continue these nights like this. He'll work on his stuff during the day, and at night he'll like pretend that he's gonna work through the night, but he'll just he'll hang out with her.
He'll go on dates with this cool chick.
Yep. So the Mongol army finally reaches their first battle. So we have this big open field, and Mongol army on one side, and there's this I don't think you really care enough to know like what the people are that they're fighting. But it's a Middle Eastern group that is not the Caliph of Baghdad, but they're like neighbors with him.
Okay. Do they have scimitars? That's my only question, because I love a scimitar. I think they're cool.
I didn't bother to research that, but maybe.
All right.
I don't know.
Let's just say they have scimitars, because scimitars are badass.
What is interesting is that the group that they fight here is the group that the assassins in Assassin's Creed are based on. This group of
okay,
assassins,
cool.
not kind of as cool as the ones in Assassin's Creed. They're basically just dudes with weapons that stab people, and they have like a stronghold that's really well protected.
I feel like that's most armies in history.
They're basically an army, but they're kind of like a terrorist state, to be honest. They just sort of like you just pay them to come in and they'll like stab people and they'll run away. They're not really
all right.
They're not really well organized or. I don't
and
really
they
fully
also
understand. They may terrorist states wrong. They're like a crusader state, if that also helps, which also might be terrorist states.
Like a mercenary army, mercenary like country almost.
Yeah, that's kind of what they are. They're a mercenary country. They want money, but they'll also extort money. So yeah, I don't really. It's hard to know what they are. Anyway,
they seem pretty cool though. Seem like cool cats.
Yeah, well, they're about to get fucked up. So.
Oh no.
The Mongol army finally reaches their first battle against these assassin people, and they charge across the field and absolutely, completely decimate them. But it's not a total, completely one-sided victory. There's a decent amount of casualties on the Mongol side, but we're gonna follow Temu through the battle, and he's doing well, and he's part of the bodyguard, so he's kind of like in a good position and around very veteran soldiers. So he's doing well. He's not experiencing the complete chaos of battle,
just horror and death.
Yeah. He's in like the best spot of the battle. He's getting kills. He's doing his part, but he's not in like the complete. He's not in the mud.
Yeah.
And also, they're Mongols. They fight a lot with their bows on horseback, so they're not like really charging and stabbing people, but they do a bit of that, and so we'll see a bit of that.
See a bit of the cool, fun like action sequences, but we don't have to like dwell on the horror of like looking into the face of somebody as you stab them to death.
Yeah, maybe we could have a moment where like Tolai's horse gets killed, and Temu will have to like ride across and pick him up and save him, and then we'll have Tolai like sitting on the back of Temu's horse shooting arrows out the back, and Temu shooting out the front. That would look cool.
That would be cool. I think it would also give you a good chance to have like you could have Chekhov's gun be Temu being able to go on the side of his horse to shoot an arrow, right? Like somebody's about to stab his friend, and he just like slides onto the side and shoots him.
Yeah.
Pulling that same move,
Hell yeah. Yeah, we gotta have as much of that as we can, because it would look cool. Gotta find some actor that's capable of doing that without killing themselves.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, he's a little old. I don't know. And also not Mongolian. He's Chinese.
Well, no.
I mean, someone looks Mongolian. Anyway. So, battle. They win. Great. And they get to the nearby stronghold, and they show some mercy to the people inside, because they immediately surrender. That is the way the Mongols work. If you surrender immediately, they will show you mercy. If you don't surrender immediately, and immediately means as soon as we get there, maybe even before we get there, they will destroy you. So,
seems pretty cool.
They surrender immediately. They get spared. But Hyolgu, the general of this big army, is standing over a pile of bodies with his friend, the Chinese strategist Guo Han, and Temu comes up to him and he's like, "Why, General, do you want us to, clear these bodies and bury them? Like, what's going on?" But Hyolgu is just angry, and he's mad because so many of his men died during the battle. He said this should have been an overwhelming victory, and he tells him about how the nearby Caliph of Baghdad, the Caliph of the Abbasid, kingdom, was supposed to send reinforcements. He previously said, he would be a friend of the Mongolians. He was supposed to send reinforcements to this battle, but he didn't. And Hyolgu was very angry about this.
Shit bloke, not a cool guy.
Didn't send the men. Not a very good alliance. So he tells his strategist Guo to send a letter to the Caliph, demanding an answer for why he has done this, and tells him that he must reply before they reach Baghdad and demand it themselves.
Ooh. I would reply. Those Mongolians seem fucking scary.
Yeah, they are, as we'll see. So Mu and Fatima, they're still doing their thing, sneaking around. Mu's still working on a big project at the library. He's doing basically all the research on. He's doing a lot of translations or transcriptions of books on the Far East, so China and a little bit of Mongolia history that they're working on, Mongolian history.
Yeah.
And so him and Fatima are sneaking into the Caliph's garden again, and they hear the Caliph himself, Al-Mutasim, and his advisor, Al-Akami. I'll probably just call them the Caliph and the advisor because you'll probably get confused if I continually refer to them by their names. There's a lot of people with similar names.
Probably.
Anyway.
I'm bad with names, so but I am 100% positive all of these pronunciations are 100% accurate.
I don't know about that. Anyway, I forgot to give that disclaimer. I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these names. So the Caliph is upset because he's got the letter from the Mongolians, from the, the strategist, and he's panicking because he didn't send the men. He thought that the assassins would wipe them out. That's what the assassins told him. Clearly didn't happen.
Yeah.
And Al-Akimi, the advisor, he's trying to calm him down. He's like, hey, don't worry about it. Look, these are the Mongols, all right? We're in the city of Baghdad. We got 3 walls. That's more than one. Mongols, they don't take cities, There's a bunch of dudes on horseback. They've never taken any cities before.
They don't even know how walls work.
He's like, we've been researching their work in China. They can't even take the southern Chinese because the walls are too big. They can't handle the walls. So the Mongolians, no pressure, man. They're totally fine. We'll easily take them out.
Yeah.
And, And the Caliph's, he's still worried. He's like, I've got some special powers. I can call on the neighboring kingdoms around me, our fellow Muslim kingdoms. Because he's in charge of Baghdad, so there's a degree of we'll come and help you if you need help. But his advisor's like, no, don't worry about it. Don't even raise your levies. You don't need to get your men together. These Mongols, they'll come by, they'll walk around the walls for a little bit, and they'll get tired and they'll go home. And the Caliph's like, you know what, you're right. There's the Mongols. All the research says that they don't know how to take cities. They definitely couldn't take our city. We got the best city in the world, the greatest.
It's one of the best. It's the New York City of the ancient world. That's what he'll say.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great dialogue.
Yeah, Baghdad is the New York of the Abbasid Empire.
Of 1258. It's the New York City of 1258.
So, Mu and Fatima were overhearing this stuff, and they sneak away, and Fatima explains to him that, she can't keep doing this, and, it's getting, there's too much pressure, people are asking questions of her, or her dad is, getting ready to try to find a match for her, this isn't gonna work anymore. And he's like, there is something we could do. We could run away. And she's hesitant at first, but she agrees. They're gonna run away together. And so he's like, I'm gonna, I gotta finish this big project I'm working on in the library. We can't do it right now because we gotta plan stuff out. So we'll figure out what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it. You get everything together that you need to get together, and we'll escape. So he goes back to the library and he starts planning how he's gonna do it. When the Caliph himself comes in, and he wants to read about the Mongols. And because Mu has been transcribing the work, so Mu is very intimidated because the Caliph is it's like he's the king, he's in charge, he's this very intimidating big guy, very important, and Mu's kind of trembling inside of it. Also because Mu is not supposed to, he's doing something he's not supposed to do, which is planning his escape. But he's he's an employee at the library. He's not allowed to just leave. They've invested a lot in his education as a scribe, and he's just gonna ditch him. So the Caliph probably wouldn't be happy about that. So
probably not.
he's very nervous as he's talking to him, and he helps the Caliph, go through the works of the Mongols and like the other Near Eastern people, and he's like, okay, so like really only the Chinese know how to do sieges, so the Mongols, they probably won't work. So he's like, yeah, all right. He sort of convinces himself that not replying to the letter is the correct thing. The Mongols will come by. I won't have to pay them tribute because I'm just gonna, say fuck you, and it'll be okay. This is the best. This is the right move.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of convinces himself.
Yeah.
So next scene, the Mongols arrive at Baghdad. We see this coming in from Temu's perspective, and Temu and the Mongols, or at least some of them, are very intimidated by the sight before them. The massive city of Baghdad, sprawling with its 3 circular walls. It's kind of mirrors the opening scene with Mu, where he saw the city. But this is a very different perspective. We're not coming into this city. We're far off from it. We can see the whole thing in one big collection. This massive metropolis. Mm-hmm. And Temu, very intimidated. But the one man of the group that clearly isn't intimidated is the strategist, Guao Han. He takes out his notepad, or whatever the 1258 equivalent of a notepad is, and he starts sketching a plan out. And he requisitions some men, a selection of men, including Tolai, so Temu's friend. And so they say bye, and Tolai heads off into the forest with the Chinese strategist general, while Hyulgu and Temu stay at the Mongol camp. So, inside Baghdad, the advisor sees this massive horde, and he advises the Caliph to, we gotta attack while they're separated. I can see, there's a huge detachment of men heading off into the forest, probably to, go see if there's any other ways into the city, but there's none, because we've got these massive circular walls. There's no concern. But while they're split up, we should attack the main army. Try to wipe them out. And the Caliph's like, yeah, brilliant idea. Good idea. I'm gonna do that. And so Mu is watching from the city wall as this small but elite Baghdadi force comes out of the city and starts approaching the Mongol army. And he can, the Abbasid army is heading out, saddling forth to confront the Mongols. And we cut to Temu as Hyulgu sounds the retreat, because he's like, oh no, shit, okay, we gotta leave. They're sallying forth. We don't have all our troops together. It wouldn't be a smart move if I engage these guys. We would probably win, but we'd lose a lot. We might not have enough men for the siege. And so he's gonna retreat to the woods. But Temu says no. He's got an idea. And Hyulgu is nervous, and he explains that if they charge, not only will the army probably take out a lot of us, but there's archers on the walls, and they'll probably decimate us. And also, this army could at any point just retreat back into the city. We have no way to cut them off from the city, and they won't let us lead them too far out. So there's nothing that we can do. And Temu says, no, I've got a plan. I can cut them off. Just wait for the signal. Get your men ready. Give me like 40 guys, and I'll have it. And Hyulgu says, okay. He trusts him, which is, it's a big moment for the general and a big moment for Temu, because he gains the trust of his leader, and it's kind of putting his life on the line here. He's seen what happens to people that let the general down. So he gallops off with his men, riding to the river, and Mu is watching from the wall as this breakout of Mongols head towards the Tigris. We cut between Mu watching on the wall and Temu as he's galloping towards the shore. And Mu sort of realizes what is happening. He's watching from the walls as this Mongol force heads towards the dike in the river, which is like holding the water flow off. And he sees what's going to happen. And he tries to warn the army, but they're not really paying attention. And Temu, he breaks the dike, and the water starts flooding out, and the river starts pouring into this little valley that's right between the walls of Baghdad and the army that just sallied out of it, separating the army from the walls, unable to retreat. Of course, now the Mongols charge, and they absolutely slaughter this detachment of soldiers now that they're cut off, and the archers on the walls can't help, and they're intimidated and scared because they can't retreat now as well. Mm-hmm. So Temu wins this like great victory, and he's heralded as a genius. And he's promised the first kill in the siege. And just as they're doing this, Tolai arrives with the siege weapons, and they begin the assault of Baghdad.
Oh no!
So we cut.
That's not good for Baghdad.
We're back. Little bit of a time jump. Rocks are hitting the city. Mu is desperately searching for Fatima inside. He's tried to, searching all over for her. He finally finds her in the palace, and he tells her to pack and meet him at the House of Wisdom, and we'll get out of here. It'll be okay. We just need to escape before the Mongols get in. And she agrees, but she's very nervous, and he tries to calm her down. He does like an okay job, but it doesn't seem to really work, and he's nervous himself. And as he's running away from her, the Caliph runs into him, and he yells into his face, screaming about the siege weapons. He's like, "You told me there'd be no siege weapons. The Mongols, they don't do sieges, you said." And Moot's telling him that, I don't know, that I don't, they must have, there must be some Chinese with them or something. Like, I can't tell you. I don't know how they have done this. And the Caliph yells, and he's looking for his advisor. He's like, "You lied to me. Where are you? Like, how come you didn't tell me, like, the Mongols had, like, advisors with them to build siege weapons?" And he's yelling for his advisor, but he also tells his men to imprison Mu. So Mu is put into a cell in the middle of this siege. So we've got, he's it's like that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where Jack Sparrow's in prison as the island they're at or wherever, like the fort is getting pounded with siege weapons and cannonballs.
Port Royal is under attack by the Black Pearl.
Yeah, exactly. And so Mu is in the cell having a rough old time. We cut to Temu. We're cutting back between Temu and Mu. So Temu being breaking into the city, and the walls are coming down. Mu is able to escape because exactly like Jack Sparrow, like one of the catapults will hit the wall and it'll break it, so he'll be able to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to run to the House of Wisdom to find Fatima. But all through the streets, Mongols are riding through. It's just complete chaos. People are getting killed and murdered. Mu will finally reach the House of Wisdom, but it's on fire and parts of it are falling down. He'll rush inside, pushing through the slaughter. Temu, on the other hand, is going through the city like with all the men, but he's kind of, he kills the first soldier at the gates. He gets the first kill of the siege, but now that they're in the city sacking it, it's not really what he thought it was like. It's really brutal. People are just getting murdered left and right, civilians.
Yeah, it's women and children. It's not soldiers.
Yeah, and Tolai is absolutely vicious, just killing tons of people all the time. And Temu is kind of distraught by everything that's happening. And they reach the House of Wisdom, and it's burning. And Mu is inside, running through, searching for Fatima, but he only finds her body.
Oh, no.
And a Mongol soldier is, turned away. He probably just stabbed her, and he's holding a long sword that's covered in blood. And this Mongol soldier is none other than Tolai. Just killed her. And so Mu grabs a knife from the ground, and he rushes up to kill this Mongol soldier. But we cut to Temu, who pulls out a sword, quickly charges this man, and stabs him before he can kill his friend. We get this moment of Temu looking into Mu's eyes as he dies. This is the first civilian that Mu has killed in this moment, and as he falls off of Temu's blade, the city of Baghdad burns, and the House of Wisdom and all its knowledge and books burns in a terrible scourge. The city itself is destroyed.
Oh,
That was my show or movie. I don't know what title you want to stick with. Fahrenheit 451, 452, Celsius 233, Fahrenheit 1258. But that was the siege.
I like
Fahrenheit
1258
of Baghdad and the House of Wisdom.
I like that. I think that's fun. I mean, it's not fun, obviously. It's very sad and somber and probably historically accurate in terms of how horrible everything is, but I liked it. I think Fahrenheit 1258 works the best as a title.
Yeah, I think so too. It's fun. I do really like Celsius 233, but that's kind of like a joke name, so.
Yeah, I like that too a lot. I think that's really fun. I just think that you're right. It's more of that would have to be kind of a parody. That would have to be more of a comedic take on the Fahrenheit 451 idea.
Yeah, that would
Whereas
have to be
this
that
is like a
House
whole
of
different
Alexandria thing that we came up with earlier. Like the sitcom, like a Parks and Rec sort of thing, where it's just they're just slowly losing all the knowledge because
all the knowledge is just slowly but surely being destroyed by time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that a lot. That was cool. There was a lot of interesting stuff. I don't really think that, sometimes we like to cast ourselves in shows. I don't really think that there's any characters that we're suited to play.
We could. Baghdad's like a multicultural city. There's a lot of people from all over the world that are in it.
They could have two white guys there, just being like, "Hey, this is pretty cool."
It could be two Christian merchants coming from France or something.
Yeah.
You know.
And we get our heads cut off.
Yeah, we get absolutely slaughtered by the Mongols.
Of course.
Be great.
We're not gonna cast ourselves as the two coolest guys in the universe who survived the sacking of Baghdad and the burning of the House of Wisdom.
You know who you should be?
Actually, are super cool.
You should be the cart guy, the guy that's driving the cart into the town.
Yeah, I'll do that. I like a cart. I like a good cart scene.
And I could be in the cart
like
as well. I could be a traveler that's like really annoyed because I'm delayed for my business meeting.
Yeah, you've got a special meeting.
Mm-hmm. And you've been holding me up. You've been holding me back because you're driving so slow, telling this kid about like the city. And I'm like, I need to be there by 12:30, and we're not there yet. You told me we'd be there by 12:30.
We have watches. We have 2 digital watches from the future.
Pull out my sundial, and I'm like, yes, right here, I can see. It's 12:30 right now.
It's 11:58. All right, I only have 32 minutes to make it to my meeting.
Gotta get these cows sold, or it's gonna be my head
or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I like that a lot. I thought it was cool. That was fun. Is Temu a real name, like of an actual person?
The name that I actually have written down for him is Temujin, which is the real name of Genghis Khan. I just call him Temu for short because no way I'm doing that. Tolai is also a real Mongolian name. It's the name of the Khan that is before the current Khan in this story. He's one of the sons of Genghis Khan.
Cool.
And of course, Fatima and Mubarak are real names. The names I gave for the advisor and the caliph, I'm sure nobody will correct me. The advisor is his actual name. I believe the caliph's name is just a title. I don't think that's his actual name. But I don't think anyone's going to correct me. But whatever.
Who cares? They're all dead. They're not gonna sue us like Ray Bradbury will.
Yeah. He'll be on it. He'll be on it.
Yeah, well, I would watch this movie.
No, you wouldn't.
I would enjoy this movie, and I would love to read all of the, reviews afterwards that were like, why did it have to end on such a bummer note? Like, why didn't it have a happy ending? And we're like, read history, dipshit?
Nah, all the reviews would be like, it wasn't historically accurate in any way, shape, or form.
Excuse me, actually, Temujin is a different name? Excuse me? Yeah, I can see that. But thank you, everyone, for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, has been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat. And remember, we will be here next week with a brand new television series titled... Give us the title, Jake.
Give me a number 1 through 10, Charlie.
Give me a 2. 2 is the number I'm choosing.
Your next show will be called a title that you've already had before because it's season 2 of Splatterpunk.
Yeah, season 2, Splatterpunk. What episode number was Splatterpunk? Hold on, let me check.
I think it was in the
number
early...
88.
Yeah,
it was number 88.
The first 100 episodes. One of my favorite series that you had, for the audience that might not remember, you had these 2 serial killers that lived together in a van. They were like, and they travel across
America.
Yeah.
Killing people and doing all sorts of kooky, wacky things. It's a black comedy.
Yeah, in like a very morbid way. It was great. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. And they had
and there was a bit of a the
detective
ending was kind of left open.
Yeah, there was a bit of a cliffhanger. If you go back and listen to episode 88, Splatterpunk, because that will be there will be the next season.
Have you already
Splatterpunk 2?
Now I'm revealing the truth here. You already knew that was your title. Have you already started working on it?
Yes. I went back and I listened to Splatterpunk, the original episode, which honestly I get very cautious about listening to any episodes before like 150 because I just assume they're all terrible. Just because I'm self-loathing like that. I went back and I listened to it, and sure, I know I could do better now. Honestly, a pretty good episode. Like, it was fun. It was, we had cool sequences that we planned out. There was enough left open. I have planned it. I had 3 separate ideas in my head, and I have decided on one of them, but I will reveal what all 3 are next week.
Oh, I'm excited to hear the alternate stuff and also what you went with, because I like that show a lot. It was one of my favorite shows you did, and I'm kind of excited to see what's going on next.
I'm excited too. It'll be fun.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and please have a good night.